What is next for Jake Paul? After destroying and embarrassing Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., what is next for him?
Who do you think you are? I am!
We should go on to fight Gervonta Davis next, since this fight was meant to happen until Gervonta Davis drew against Lamont Roach. But Jake Paul said that this fight will happen later this year after Gervonta Davis rematches Lamont Roach, in which I got Jake Paul winning this fight. And let me explain, Gervonta Davis relies on one shot to knock out his opponents. And let's be honest here, Gervonta Davis ain't knocking out Jake Paul with just one shot. I believe Jake Paul is going to stay on the outside, outland Gervonta Davis, and take it by decision. There's just no way Gervonta Davis knocks out Jake Paul. Now, another potential fight for Jake Paul is a fight against Badou Jack, since Badou Jack is down to fight Jake Paul, and both of the teams have been trying to make this fight happen, in which I got Badou Jack winning this fight. And do I even need to explain why? Badou Jack has way more skill, speed, power, and experience. There's just no way Jake Paul beats Badou Jack. Badou Jack is just on a whole different level. I have a better chance at marrying Madison Beer than Jake Paul has at beating Badou Jack. No, but seriously, there's no way Jake Paul beats Badou Jack.
Now let's talk about this fight because it went exactly how I expected. I knew Jake Paul was going to be the man in control, and that's exactly what we've seen, as Jake Paul won almost every single round. I would say Chavez Jr. just won 2 rounds max, and those were the later rounds, since it wasn't until the later rounds that we seen Chavez Jr. pick up the pace and he began to let his hands go, but it was too late as Jake Paul had already won every single round before that. But I'm going to be honest, I expected more dominance from Jake Paul. I feel like he could have took advantage of Chavez Jr.'s slow start and vulnerability, and I believe he could have went for the knockout. But now with Jake Paul making these retired fighters look like shit even though they're real fighters, really just makes me want to see him have a fight similar to the Tommy Fury fight, because although he's continuing to look dangerous, we need to see if he's been improving and by how much. And the only way we'll know that is if he fights somebody who actually focuses on boxing and who's around his age and size, because that way we actually get to see Jake Paul have a back and forth fight, and we'll get to see if he's actually the real deal or not. But here's what makes it hard for Jake Paul to get the perfect fight with a credible and active fighter, and that's that nobody has a big enough name, and it's very unlikely that he fights a real big boxer like Anthony Joshua, even though Jake Paul just called him out and wants to make that fight happen. So it's either Jake Paul fights a big name but somebody who's not a threat towards him, or he could end up fighting a credible boxer who's young and active, but it could turn out that that guy doesn't have a big enough name, so that event doesn't end up doing good in pay-per-views. And I guess you could say that he could get that rematch with Tommy Fury, but that's most likely not going to happen, since Tommy Fury is reportedly asking for way too much money.
How much time you got?
All night.
I will sit here until my dick falls
I
off.
swear to God.
So in the end, I want to see Jake Paul fight tougher competition, and I definitely want to see him fight a world champion, because that would definitely be entertaining, and I believe that would be good for boxing, because you can't deny the fact that Jake Paul brings a lot of eyes.